Hello everyone, this is Shwetalin Panda from Educate Tutorials and I'll be taking 11th CBSE Chapter 12 Mineral Nutrition. So let's begin with the introduction. I have a question for you all. What do you think is the basic need of all living organisms? So it is basically that all living organisms are essentially the same, so the requirements are quite very common, that is in the macromolecules such as carbohydrates, proteins, fats, water and minerals for the growth and development. Here we will study the role of the mechanism of absorption of these essential elements, and this chapter focuses mainly on inorganic plant nutrition and also introduces you briefly to the significance and the mechanism of the biological nitrogen fixation. Moving forward to the first topic of this lesson is methods to study the mineral requirements of plants. Here the question arises, what is hydroponics? So let's peek into it. It is a technique of growing plants in a nutrient solution. Here we don't use basic soil, but instead we use a solution which consists of all the essential elements. This technique was first demonstrated in the year 1860 by Julius von Sass, who is a prominent German botanist. He had a strong interest in movement of plants, waters in plants. So in his book on plant physiology, he also mentioned about how root hairs remove water from the soil and deliver it to other cells of the root. Here the question arises that why is this method so essential? After performing a series of experiments, the roots of the plants which were immersed in nutrient solutions are wherein an element was added, substituted, removed, or given in varied concentration, a mineral solution suitable for the plant growth was obtained. Not only this, but by this method, essential animal elements were identified and the deficiency symptoms were also discovered. Here in this picture on top left, we will see typical setup for nutrient solution cultures where the plant is cotton plucked so it stays stable, so it maintains its stability in the solution, and a pipe is inserted which is for aeration purpose, and the funnel is used for adding water and nutrients. Whereas the second picture towards the left, towards the right down, shows gives the idea about how hydroponic plant production takes place. Here, the plants are grown in a tube which are slightly tilted, that is inclined, and a pump is used which circulates nutrient solutions from reservoir to the elevated end of the tube. The solution flows down to the tube and returns to the reservoir due to gravity. This whole setup is used and where the roots are allowed to continuously bath in aerated nutrients solution. Now we will be seeing that if what happens if the nutrient solution is not properly aerated or poorly aerated. The basic idea of this is that we all know that the plant would die, but how? Let's see it. Here we will see that when the roots do not access to the oxygen, the main reason is that if there is no proper aeration, the oxygen will not reach the roots, and if the oxygen is not accessible to the roots, they will die, and in response the plant will also die. This is why it is so important to make sure that the soil and the nutrient solution is properly aerated to maintain enough oxygen for the plant cells found in the root mass. Now, after seeing the mineral requirements of plant, let's also see the insights of what essential mineral elements contain. Most of the minerals present in soil can enter plants through roots. We all know this. In fact, more than 60 elements of the 105 discovered so far are found in different plants. Some plant species accumulate selenium, some others gold, while plants growing near nuclear test sites take up radioactive strontium. So there are basically techniques that are able to detect these minerals even at very low concentration. But the question is whether all the diverse mineral elements present in a plant, for example, gold and selenium, as mentioned above, are really necessary for plants. How do we decide what is essential for plants and what is not? For this, we will have to see the criteria. So, the criteria for essentiality of an element are given below. The first, it says that the element must be absolutely necessary for supporting normal growth and reproduction. That means, in absence of these elements, plants do not complete their life cycle. The requirement of the element must be specific and not replaceable by another element. In other words, the deficiency of any element cannot be made by supplying some other elements. So, specificity is very important here. The third point says that the element must be directly involved in the metabolism of plant. Then comes that based on this above category, few elements have been found to absolutely be essential for plants' growth and metabolism. They are further classified into macronutrients and micronutrients. As the name suggests, macronutrients are present in large amounts and micronutrients are needed in small amounts. Micronutrients are therefore also called as trace elements. The examples of macronutrients are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, and so on. Whereas micronutrients involve iron, sodium, zinc, boron, chlorine, etc. So what this essential animals can do is being grouped into further four broad categories based on their diverse functions. These categories are first, they are the components of biomolecules and hence structural elements of cells. That is, they are found in carbohydrates, for example, starch, glucose include carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, lipids, also fatty acids also includes nitrogen. Secondly, elements, essential elements that are components of energy related chemical compounds in plants. That is, whenever the energy related chemical compounds is stated, what comes into our mind is ATP. So the example here is ATP, which involves phosphate, and another example is chlorophyll, which consists of magnesium as an essential element. Thirdly, essential elements are also involved in activation and inhibition of enzymes. For example, in various biochemical pathways, which you have already studied or are going to study, include elements such as magnesium, that is Mg2+, which acts as an activator for both ribulose biphosphate carboxylase oxygenase and PEP oxylase. These are the critical enzymes which are involved in photosynthesis, which are involved in photosynthetic carbon fixation. Then the last category involves elements which can alter the osmotic potential of a cell. For instance, potassium, which plays important role in the opening and closing of stomata, is the best example for this point. So we will be seeing the roles of these essential elements in next lecture. Till then, thank you. Stay home, stay safe.